Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into Morning in the Valley. It is Monday, October the 20th. T-minus 14 days from go time here in the 2025-26 college basketball season. Glad you are with us today. We have a full house today. We're going to look back at some exhibition matchups over the weekend. We had one game Friday, one Saturday, one Sunday. Varying levels of success for a variety of reasons. We'll get into that coming up. We will also continue our preseason previews. Dr. Rich Tyner, the radio voice of the Belmont women, will join us in about 10 minutes. And then at about 9:30, we will be joined by Kenny Roth, my radio tag team partner for the Murray State Radio Network. The Racers victorious on Saturday in Cincinnati, taking on Xavier in their first exhibition game. But we'll talk about that. Also, just look ahead to the season coming up for year one of the Ryan Miller era in Murray, Kentucky. If you haven't done so already, please swing on by YouTube, search for Morning in the Valley, subscribe for free, no cost. No cost. And if you don't like what you see, let me know. We'll give you a refund. Please share it with your friends, countrymen, Valley-loving basketball fans. As, again, you click the little notification bell. You know when we go live. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here in the off-season. But starting November 3rd, that will pick up considerably. So make sure you click that so you're notified every time we go live. All right, time to get to business this morning. And the first of three exhibitions from the weekend happened at the SIU Arena on Friday night. No visual proof from this one, but Southern Illinois did rally back to beat Austin Peay 84-79. Salukis trailed by 10 at the half. It was 45-35. Trailed by 7 with 9:21 to go, but then SIU goes on an 11-0 run. Kelron House had a layup with 6.5 to go, put SIU on top. They never trailed again. And what a debut, if we want to call an exhibition game a debut. Kelron House, the Jacksonville State transfer, 29 points, 8 of 13 from the field, was 13 of 15 from the free throw line. Their free throws aplenty, because I know when you're going to an exhibition game, you want it to be a ref show right out of the jump. 49 free throw attempts for SIU. I'm sure Scott Nagy would love to have made more than 32, but it was enough on the night. Rollins Aligbe, big man in the middle, 16 points, 8 boards, plus 10 on the glass. Certainly a good sign there for the Salukis. It's been interesting that, that these games are sort of handled differently by different coaches. And for Scott Nagy, it seems like, look, we're here to win. For sure, but it wasn't one of those equal opportunity. Everybody's going to play 15 to 20 minutes and let it go. Played 11, 9 guys played at least 10 minutes, but there was essentially a rotation there for Nagy. But in the end, hey, a win is a win is a win. As I said the other night, when you lose an exhibition, you're like, it's just an exhibition. You just kind of kick it away. But when you win, you're like, yeah, we won. That's a good deal. SIU will have one more exhibition. It'll be next Wednesday night. They will travel to Lindenwood to take on Lindenwood there in their final exhibition. Saturday afternoon in Cincinnati, the Racers of Murray State go to the Cintas Center and beat Xavier 75-70 in the debut for not only head coach Ryan Miller, but 15 brand new Racers. Murray State got off to a slow start. Xavier went on a quick little 10-0 run, but the Racers responded with a 14-0 run, took the lead, and they did not trail in the final 25 minutes of this game. It got a little hairy late. The Racers, 9 of 17 from the free throw line in the first 37 minutes, but they slammed the door late, going 13 of 14 at the line in the final 3 minutes, including KJ Tenner right there, the sophomore transfer from West Virginia, went 6 for 6 from the line in the last 15 seconds to slam the door. Look, Fred King, he's a beast. He's going to be, if he stays healthy, I will be shocked if in the end the Creighton transfer is not a first-team all-league player. 15 and 11 coming off the bench, did not start. Racers were without J.J. Traynor. He is expected to start this year. Minor injury that Ryan Miller decided to just sit him down. He said, look, if it's a regular season game, he plays. It's an exhibition. He won't bench Stolzberg, the transfer from UC Santa Barbara, also did not play due to a minor injury. So the Racers a little bit shorthanded there. But King had 15 and 11. Braden Shorter, 15, made 5 of 14 threes. He was the Division II leader in three-pointers a year ago. A pair of freshmen, Matisse Corbone, 11 points, 11 rebounds. Ramon Doman had 10 and 7 coming off the bench as well. Tenor had 12 and 5, so you got 5 guys in double figures. Just an all-around nice effort. Again, we're going here to win this game. Ryan Miller played 11. 8 guys played double-digit minutes in this one. So just from some old Valley friends, all right, from Valparaiso. Isaiah Walker from Belmont, who transferred up to Xavier, had little impact on this game. Gabriel Posado did not play. He's dealing with a torn meniscus. The Racers will be off until Sunday when they have their final exhibition game against Division II Northern State, which is Ryan Miller's alma mater. We'll talk with Kenny Roth more about this game coming up in a little bit. Really, the marquee matchup in the exhibition season that we were so excited about was Illinois State going up to Illinois, taking on the Illini in Champaign. And it was really kind of in the end, a dud. And it was a dud on Saturday when we found out that Johnny Kinzinger and Chase Walker, neither of them were going to play. Cameron Barnes, Ty Blake also did not play due to injuries. Missouri Valley Conference Media Day is going on as we speak. And Ryan Peden, who just hopped on about 10 minutes before the top of the hour, was asked about those guys' status and was not overly verbose about what was going on with any of them, but basically said we are hopeful. He's like, it's not really a day-to-day thing, but we're hopeful to have them back before the next exhibition game, which is the 29th of October. So that's next Wednesday when they go to Northwestern. And he said, look, if they're not ready there, he's like, we're just, fingers crossed they're then able to go on the opener. They will not play their first game till November the 6th. So that's Thursday. So they're still 17 days out from their opener. So hopefully whatever dings that the Walkers and Kinzingers and Barnes and Blakes of the world are dealing with there in normal, they will be able to bounce back from. Illinois had a couple guys out as well, but certainly the biggest hammers that Ryan Peden was going to be able to swing never made it out of the toolbox, certainly with Kinzinger and Walker. The Redbirds down 23 at the half. Some bright spots, like Jack Doherty. There's a guy, I feel like he's an all-league guy. I just do. By the way he shoots the basketball, I'll be surprised if he's not an all-league guy. 5 for 11 from 3. He had 16 points. Brandon Lee, look, 7-1, didn't play last year. 21 minutes, had 9 points, 3 rebounds. I think, your mileage may vary on how he did against the Illini, but to be able to have a 7-1 dude coming off the bench is just a huge weapon, especially in conference play, to back up Chase Walker. And again, a guy you didn't get to see at all last year because he was hurt. Be able to see him out there healthy, that was a great sign. And Bowden Skunberg, the 6'5" transfer from North Dakota State, who didn't play all of last year because of an injury, was dinged up through the summer as well. He played 25 minutes, only had 5 points, 3 rebounds, but he played. And he is a huge piece, that sort of a forgotten piece to this Illinois State team that we didn't see a year ago because he was hurt. But dude can shoot the basketball, and that was very good to have him back and rolling with the Illini. All right, let's talk some women's basketball now, and it is time to welcome in our guest. He is the longtime voice of the Belmont women's basketball program, and it is not often, and by not often I mean never, that we actually have a doctor on the program. So let's welcome in Dr. Reiner. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jeff. You know what? Rich is just fine.
Listen, if I've got a doctor on here, I'm going doc all day long.
Okay. All right.
We're low class around here, so we're just sprucing things up with your presence today. So we appreciate that. All right. Last year, before we turn our attention to this year, just a great season that just came up just short in Evansville, certainly against Murray State in the championship game, but you make it all the way to the WBIT championship. Just what was the being able to go to Butler and play in there, and you get all the way to the end, and it just seemed like, boy, you'd love to go into the NCAA tournament, but what an experience to be able to get all the way to the end there.
Yeah, it's one of those really memorable experiences for me. First of all, it's hard to lose in that conference tournament, especially in what has traditionally been a one-bid league. So that was a really difficult loss, and yet you really tip your hat to the Racers and Rochelle Turner and what she's done with that program. But then to get invited to WBIT and to make that run, it's one of the highlights of the career that I've had following and covering Belmont women's basketball. The game quarterfinal game against James Madison, which was, I think, one of the first 4 out in their place. And Belmont goes up there and beats them by 45. Maybe the best 40 minutes of executing a game plan and just a great game in that quarterfinal. And then, like you say, to go to Butler in that legendary place and get a win over Villanova. And then, you face Minnesota, which is another one of those teams that should have been in the tournament. But what a great run, what a great memory, not only for me, but for those players in that team.
It's really been a great transition for the Bruins into the Missouri Valley Conference to grab a piece of the regular season championship first year in, second and third the last 2 years, but have not been able to kick in the door in the conference tournament to get back to the NCAA tournament, where the last 7 years in the Ohio Valley Conference to get to the NCAA tournament 6 times, just an incredible run, and just cannot kick the door in when you've been to the championship game 2 of the last 3 years. What's the frustration's maybe a strong word, but where's the mindset around the program of just like, we're so close, we just haven't been able to break through that glass ceiling yet?
Well, I don't know that I'll speak for the program. I'll speak for me. This is a really good league. Yeah. And, with Murray State and Belmont both joining the league at the same time, I think on the women's basketball side of things, I think that those two teams raised the level of the entire league. They've both had tremendous success in the short time being in the league, and I think they're going to continue to do that. I think it's going to be it's hard to win that championship. It's going to continue to be hard, but I think that Belmont's expectations, and I think Murray State's expectations, are that that's what we're going for every single year is that conference championship.
Some big departures, a lot coming back, but some big departures, certainly including Kendall Cheeseman, who was a first-team all-league player a season ago. Kendall Holmes as well. Cheeseman was a 12.9 rebound a game kid. Again, first-team all-conference. What does her graduation void mean to this program this season?
Well, I think a lot, and I think both of the players that you mentioned, that's 2 of the best shooters on that team last year. You don't normally think of a 6'2" post player as being one of your best shooters, but Kendall Cheeseman just has, you can see if you're watching the video here, you can see that release. It's just a picture perfect shot. Such great form. And both the Kendalls were just such incredible shooters. So I think, you certainly have some game to make up there in terms of distance scoring. But I think that, you've got some young players coming back. You've got a transfer coming in as bigs and then some freshmen coming in that, I think Bart Brooks is going to come into the league pretty well stocked again this year.
It has been remarkable consistency over the last decade for this program. Certainly the young ladies that are coming back and certainly you've got 2 all-league kids and Tootie Jones and Jalen Banks, third team all last year, all Valley last year, Tootie on the all defensive team as well. Let's start with Tootie. What does she bring to this program with her skill set?
Tootie is Belmont's version of Macy Turley. It seems like Tootie has been at Belmont forever. I think Macy Turley is one of the great stories of women's college basketball in the last 50 years. To play for the same head coach for 10 years between high school and college is a remarkable story. And Tootie has that kind of longevity. She's a floor general. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody that plays harder than Tootie does. Her basketball IQ is off the charts. Her mom's a coach, and you can tell she plays like a coach would play. She's like another coach out there on the floor. Such a good defensive player, but it's not all defense with Tootie either. She can shoot the ball as well. She usually ends up having the defensive assignment for the number 1 scorer on the opposition. And so her focus from the beginning of the game is typically going to be defense. But she'll get her chances and she'll put it in the hole for you as well.
She's been in school long enough. She could be Dr. Jones soon enough, seemingly.
That's about right.
Jalen Banks as well, just one of the young budding stars in this league. Where do you see her maybe taking a leap this year, hopefully, for the Bruins?
I think part of it is going to be leadership. And part of it, I think, as she enters her third season, I think that Jalen, and again, I don't want to speak for Jalen, but just from my perspective, I think that Jalen's going to come in with a boatload of confidence, not really feeling like she has anything to prove. We know she's a great ball handler, unbelievable ball handler. She can create space and drive as well as anyone. And I think that maybe coming in with more confidence that she doesn't have a lot to prove other than just going out and doing what she's already proven that she can do. And so I kind of see Jalen taking a pretty big leap this year and actually finishing a lot of things that she starts out there on the floor.
In terms of the additions, seems almost rare nowadays that you would bring in 5 freshmen into the program. That's kind of a big number in the transfer portal era. But boy, if you can get those kids in young and develop them into what you want in your program and all that, awesome. The one seemingly big addition coming from nearby Knoxville, the ace Avery Strickland coming in. 5'10" guard, spent the last 2 years at Tennessee. There seems to be some hope and expectation maybe around the ace that she's going to be, hasn't had a lot of maybe on the court success, but there's enough pedigree there that, boy, you think Bart Brooks is going to be able to just squeeze every drop of success out of her she can.
Yeah. And, I think that most people close to particularly women's basketball understand what I'm about to say. For Missouri Valley Conference fans, this will be a new face, and, they'll look at numbers from Tennessee and so forth and Pitt. But for people that are close to the game, they know that Bart Brooks has had his eye on her for a long, long time. Yeah. And he knows her and her skill set very, very well. And I can tell you about Bart. He doesn't just bring in, whether it's transfers or freshmen, he doesn't just bring in the players that are that have a certain skill set. He really focuses on the whole person, the young lady that's going to fit character-wise, that's going to fit as a teammate, and kind of do things the Belmont way. And I think that's a formula, if I can use the word formula, that's worked really well at Belmont, and certainly it has for Bart Brooks. You mentioned the 5 freshmen. I don't think Bart brings in 5 freshmen anticipating or hoping that 2 or 3 of them stick. I think he brings in 5 freshmen assuming that 5 freshmen are going to be at Belmont their entire time. Now, that doesn't always happen. Belmont's got a pretty good track record in the transfer situation both ways. Not a lot of transfers out, frankly, not a lot of transfers in, but it's been more based on the fit. And I think his plan for those 5 players is that they're going to be 4-year players at Belmont. They're going to be, that group that gets built on over the next 4 years. And Bart's the kind of coach that, and this is me talking. Players love playing for Bart. He's just he's such a, not only is he a great basketball mind, but he's just a really good guy. And the players absolutely love playing for him. He's very even-keeled. He's demanding, but in an even-keeled way. And the players know they're going to learn a lot from him. They're going to have a great chance at success with him. And so, I think those 5 players, he's looking at them to just continue building the program the way he's been building it for a number of years.
10 years in a row with at least 20 wins is just, and it's not just, hey, we got 20 or 21. I mean, there's some mid to uppers, and we've got a 31-4 in there as well. Started with Cameron Neubauer, but Coach Brooks has ripped that off 8 years in a row. It's easy to just kind of, I don't know, write it off isn't the right way to put it, but just like, hey, it's Belmont. The machine keeps going, and they just keep plugging out 20 wins a year, and they're always kind of be there. But it's not easy, especially in this era of college, in any era of college basketball, to be that good every single year. What is, from your seat around the program, what is the secret sauce that Bart Brooks brings that he has been able to just have this consistent level of significance in whatever league they may happen to be playing in?
Well, I think it's pretty simple to see, Jeff. He schedules a lot of really bad teams. Okay, that was a little joke. No, because I don't know anyone that puts together a schedule as difficult as Bart does, and yet he still continues to maintain that success. I think there's a lot of things. I mean, okay, I've already said Bart's a great coach. He's a great recruiter. He's a really, he's just a really good guy, and so players love playing for him. When you're recruiting, existing players are very open about that with recruits. But I think, in all honesty, I think it goes even beyond Bart. And I'll brag, I'm retired from Belmont as far as my time as a professor. Belmont's a great institution. It's a great university in a great city, tremendous location. If you're standing on the top step of our administration building and look north, you're looking down Music Row. And so it's a tremendous location. And so when you mix all the things, and we still believe in the old student part of the student athlete and the student athlete experience. And so when you look at the whole package, you've got a basketball team with a good track record, with a great culture, and then you're also in a great city at a great university. If I'm 18 years old, I'm looking at that and going, what a tremendous opportunity. And so I think the whole package is part of it. I think it starts with Bart at this point in our history. It starts with Bart, but I don't think the greatest coaches in the world will have a hard time recruiting to a place that's not a good place to go to school.
Yeah. I'm going to go over your schedule game by game, and I don't do that with everybody, at least saying all 11 schools, because as you mentioned, this schedule is, this is, I don't know if this is just you're just walking into we can use all kinds of analogies we probably don't need to use here, but this is ridiculous. And in this next breath, it's almost a dream at a mid-major level to be able to get this many power schools to be able to play you, to have home games with Brown and the big rivalry with Lipscomb, a good Princeton team, Kentucky and Duke coming to the Curb Center. You're going to the Bahamas to play Ohio State and then either West Virginia or McNeese, and then on the road at Oklahoma, at Tennessee, at Dayton, at Middle. Holy shnikes. And look, and he has said, it's fine that we get these games. We got to win one of these games at some point too. And they have been so close. And maybe that's what, just keeping them from getting to that at large. You were 51 in the net last year. You're kind of around the hoop with that. But what stands out about this schedule this year? And this isn't a one-time thing. He's been doing this for years. But this year's schedule, what jumps out at you from what he's got on the board? Really,
two things to me are remarkable about this schedule. Number one, and you mentioned it, the teams, the Power Fours that are coming to Nashville. It's one thing to get a team to play you at their place, but it's another thing to get a home and home with those schools. And Bart's just done an incredible job, and I think it speaks a lot, to his character in terms of the respect that other coaches have for him around the country, that they're willing to do that. And, it's also a nice trip for their team to come to Nashville and spend a couple of days in Nashville. So to get those schools to come to Belmont and play a road game against the Bruins, I think is the first remarkable thing. The other thing, and you alluded to this as well, Bart doesn't schedule these games and go in and say, well, we're going to lose 11. He schedules these games assuming we're going into every one of these games with the mindset that we're going to come out with a win. That's his point of view. And they have been so close on so many, not every time. There have been a few. But I'll tell you, when when Belmont loses one of those that's not as close as Bart would like it to be, it's as hard as a loss to Murray State in the conference tournament, because he wants the team to perform well. He wants the team to have a shot at winning that thing when it's over. So every one of those games is on there as a game that he views as a potential win.
Do we have our passport for the Bahamas ready to go? You getting to go to that?
I'm not going to that.
Oh no.
It's a combination of things. I'll be doing those games remote. It's really as much about logistics as anything else, and
I get it.
And so I'll let the ladies enjoy their time without the old man on the trip, and I'll do those games remote. But I've been on a couple of those trips in years past, and they're an awful lot of fun. But I'll spend Thanksgiving at home too. So see, there's a benefit for
there.
Me
you go. There you go. Dr. Rich Tyner, radio voice of the Belmont women's basketball program. Thank you so much for the time today, and enjoy the season. And hopefully we can catch up again soon.
Thank you, Jeff. Enjoyed being with you.
All right, thank you. There's Rich Tyner, and I'm telling you, it is just a masterclass of scheduling. He said just power schools and getting these home and homes. And look, the bottom line is, and Dr. Tyner mentioned it. It's like, look, it is, and I've heard the other side of it from Murray State. Murray State is not Murray, Kentucky is not a vacation destination. Nashville, Tennessee, look, Duke, or obviously Kentucky and they're like, yeah, we'll come spend a couple days in Nashville and we'll throw a basketball game in there too. So there is an advantage there, but still it is a situation. These teams have to go and realize they are in jeopardy rolling into the Curb Center, because what is waiting on them is a really, really good basketball team. And there was a couple instances last year they went and played some of the super heavyweights and they got popped, but then there was others that they were, Ohio State, if memory serves, they took them into deep waters into the fourth quarter in Nashville last year and were just couldn't finish the deal. And that's where, if they can get one or two of these, they are, again, 51 in the net. They were right on that cusp last year of, yes, we lost in the conference tournament championship game, but being in that at-large discussion. They don't even need 76 teams. They can be in that discussion again if they can't cut the nets down, I guess, in Coralville, Iowa this year. But if they can pick any of these big boys off, big girls off, and maybe, hey, they're certainly good enough to go get two or three of them, they're very much going to be in that discussion when the time matters. BartTorvik.com with their preseason projections. We've talked about the men this year, over the weekend, popped out the women's projections, and maybe not surprisingly, Belmont is number one on the board in the Missouri Valley, 62nd entering the year. And the folks over there at Bart Torvik, they work in roster additions and departures and all that they try to be as just not looking at the past. It's what do you have and who did you bring in and so on. So really no surprise. Those are the two teams that met in Evansville for the whole thing last year. And they are the two top teams in the Valley this season on the preseason side of things from a metric standpoint. Murray State, okay, 87. Look, they got a lot back. They certainly lost a lot. When you lose a 3,000-point scorer in Caitlin Young, a double-double machine in Ava Learn, that's a lot to replace when they have their entire post group as a collective has played a grand total of 0 minutes and 0 seconds in a Murray State uniform. So that will be a work in progress, but not a real surprise. Those are your two top teams. The other teams in sort of maybe tier 2 on the women's side, Northern Iowa, Drake, Illinois State, no surprise there. The 6th team, Bradley. Okay, they've got so many back there for Kate Popovic-Goss. Not maybe a little surprised, but at the same time, you have seen the trajectory of them in the first 3 years with Coach Pop to see what they have accomplished. So they're starting to get that early recognition. We'll see how they can deal with the burden of expectation this year as they go into year 4. And then you get to that third tier, and maybe the real one that jumps out to me is UIC at 269. I will be shocked if they are there as the season progresses. They were, when we talked last year about the top 6, bottom 6, and they were kind of that 7th team that really forced their way into the top 6 and it was a top 7, bottom 5 situation as they were, they went and beat both at home. It was Missouri State and Murray State, the two co-champs in the Missouri Valley last year. They were able to get those wins. So I will be shocked there. But Evansville, SIU, Valpo, Indiana State certainly have some work to do, and hopefully they can, especially in November and December, get some wins, elevate those computer numbers. So then when we get into conference play and the top of the league is playing the bottom of the league, it's not so detrimental necessarily from a metric standpoint. But look, we're still waiting on the Missouri Valley preseason poll. I believe I have not seen that come in front of my face, which may have just meant I took a nap. But hopefully we'll get that here soon. 2 weeks away from the start of the season. But it will be Belmont and Murray State, I think, 1-2. And I think it's just going to depend. Murray State may get the benefit of the doubt from folks maybe not fully paying attention, thinking that, hey, they've got a couple of league kids back and they're the defending champs and they'll be one. But I will not bat one eye if it is Belmont that is picked there at the top of the pack. All right. We had a chance, it was yesterday, and to talk about Ryan Peden at Illinois State. His Redbirds went to Illinois to play and got beat. And got beat didn't really matter, 92-65. But after the game, he was talked about scheduling. And this is, look, we have banged on this drum forever about scheduling and the difficulties of scheduling. And this was his response yesterday to dealing with the struggles of, yes, we got to play Illinois in an exhibition game. We're certainly not playing them in the regular season. So here's Ryan Peden yesterday with his thoughts on that.
Yeah, we're trying. We have a team. Scheduling philosophy for me has changed over time. I think it will always change year by year, but I to some level. But this is a team. We've got guys coming back. We got high expectations for ourselves. I really want to challenge our team. I want to expose us. What's going to get us to where we want to go is going to occur in January, February, and March. And I have to have the foresight here as the leader to see the big picture. And if we take some on the chin, we take some on the chin. But these are opportunities for us, right? We don't get these opportunities very often. We were like 0 for 60 on trying to schedule high majors in the regular season. And finally, USC said they would play us on a neutral floor, which is 9 miles from their campus, okay, in California. So, I really want to challenge our team. I do. I do. And if our record, if we get punched in the nose a time or two, so be it. Like I'm sign me up for playing on bigger stages against better opponents. I spent a lot of time in the off season studying how Gonzaga became Gonzaga. Talked to Dan Monson, I talked to Mark Few, and it's really interesting. It's a different day and age because it was easier for them to schedule the big boys back then, and just how the model is set up scheduling wise now, from the net rankings to what the conference office is telling all of these Big Ten teams who to play. They want to play quad ones and quad fours that they can beat by 30 or 40 points to not hurt their metrics. So it's stacked against us. And I've been outspoken when we've been asked about it. But for mid majors, it's becoming harder and harder to get those kinds of opportunities. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a rant there, but that's real. That's real. And mid majors are getting squeezed out of this thing, and there's still resistance on expanding the tournament. And if you had a half hour, I'd be happy to talk about that someday.
Ryan Peden, we got all the hours you want over here at Morning in the Valley. Love to open invitation to come on and talk. And look, that's it. I mean, that's the whole thing right now is just they won't play you. They won't play you if you think you're going to be. If they think you're going to be okay, they won't play you. And we, as I know firsthand, the situation. Murray State, Ryan Miller just saying we tried to get bought as a. Thankfully, has a home and home with. They have a home and home with SMU. that they will go play. And that gives them an opportunity to try and get Kenny Roth on here while I'm talking out loud. That this is a it's a situation that they just cannot. They won't play him. And he said, "Look, it's not a matter of people think we're good or they think we're going to be good. It's just as much a matter of anything as that we're an unknown, so people aren't interested in playing." And it's like, and I've said more than once on here, when you look at everybody's non-conference schedules, you almost can tell. It's like the country tells on. They tell on themselves about who they think is going to be good in the Missouri Valley, and Evansville got bought. And after that, I think SIU got bought by Memphis. But once you start moving your way up, it's like there's just not people to get bought. Illinois State, yeah, like you said, he's getting USC in a neutral game. That is as close of a scheduling victory as you can get at that level. But Belmont didn't get bought. I don't believe Bradley got bought. Northern Iowa didn't get bought. Murray didn't get bought. So it's just if you are if you're good and they think you're going to be good, they're not messing with you. And he nailed it. And Ryan Miller has said that, from the Murray State side, that he's like, coming from Creighton, and that look, he knows it. He's like, I've done this. This is how we scheduled. We want to play quad 1 games or quad 1 teams, or we want to play quad 4 teams that we can blow out of the water. But we're not. We're the Q2s and Q3s. It's like if you win them, they don't help you. But boy, if you lose them, they put you in jeopardy, and that's what everybody avoids. And the Missouri Valley kind of sitting in that Q2 range in so many instances, and teams just don't want to play. So Ryan Miller preaching for all of us, but I don't know what the answer is and how things can change. But that is what we hope can change. But I'm not holding my breath on that regard by any stretch. All right, let's turn our attention now to the Murray State Racers, 16-17 a season ago, 9-11 in the Missouri Valley Conference. A coaching change at the end of the year. Normally in these segments, we talk about key departures, key returners. Well, everybody departed and everybody is new. So that is what we have with first-year head coach Ryan Miller. Let's bring in my tag team partner from the Racer Radio Network, the man, the myth, and the legend, Kenny Roth this morning. Boo, how are we doing today?
Good morning. How's the world? Lots of activity today in the Missouri Valley Conference.
There is. We had a media day that we both hopped on briefly, heard from the commissioner. But I guess the thing I want to talk about before we get into things is Saturday afternoon in Cincinnati. Racers 75-70 winners there in the exhibition against the Xavier Musketeers with 48 hours to sleep on it. What's your big takeaway from that matchup on Saturday?
Well, I was interested to see how the Racers would handle the pressure that Richard Pitino teams usually play with, and Xavier did in fact bring a lot of full court pressure, not a lot of trapping, but a lot of man-to-man pressure, team turnovers for the game, which was manageable for them. And then matching up against a Big East lineup that, started at the 2, 3, and 4, 6, 6, 6, 8, 6, 10, 7 foot, just a lot of size. And Murray State got pounded on the glass to start the game, but really responded and fought back well on the defensive glass as well as the offensive glass. So I think the physicality of playing up, to the Big East, that the Racers met that, and this Racer team certainly does have a lot of depth moving forward to pick and choose from.
Back in late March, athletic director Nico Yanko tabbed Ryan Miller as the new head coach of the Racers, coming after a lot of high major experience. Spent the last 4 as the associate head coach at Creighton. We have certainly seen over the decades the guys that have come from big time places that have started their coaching career at Murray State and gone on to bigger and better things. Mark Gottfried from UCLA, Mick Cronin coming in from Louisville, now Ryan Miller from Creighton. From back in March when he was just kind of a resume on a press release to now seeing him in action for the last 6 months or so, what has jumped out to you about Ryan Miller leading this Racer program?
I think we all knew his pedigree was very good. Worked for, multiple very successful head coaches. And at each place, he had really elevated himself up into the associate head coach role. And so, his pedigree was easy to spot. You just never know how head coaches are going to function as recruiting as the head coach, where they are the one that's being sold as opposed to as an assistant, you're selling someone else. And then also just when you move over 18 inches during games, out of that assistant seat to the head coach's seat, how they would respond there. And Ryan Miller got a jump on things with being able to coach 3 games in the Bahamas, but thought he did a fantastic job at Xavier in managing substitutions and managing time management late in the game, or the last minute of the game lasted about 15 or 20 minutes of real time with a lot of decisions that had to be made. And I thought he did an excellent job with that. Also liked the firmness that he showed with the team. At times early in the game. Xavier really dominated the glass and kind of punked the Racers out the first 3 or 4 minutes on the offensive glass. And they had a nice conversation during the timeout. And really from then on, I thought that Murray State elevated their play. But just to see him, interact his personality, and to see how he's going to be handling those situations, thought he did a great job in the first really significant head coaching opportunity.
You talked about that final minute of the game, and look, coaches, I've sat in practice. They run these little, 2-minute games where you get into these tight situations. Like you can have a list as long as your arm of up to 10 seconds, down to 10 seconds, whatever. Especially those final 15 seconds, you had a foul up 3 situation. You're trying to sub guys in and out. You're trying to, everything. It was almost stuff you couldn't even dream of that he got in real time with his guys to be able to do it and to be able to come out with the win, all the better. But that was just. I just thought that was just unbelievable on-court practice for his guys and for them to come out on the right end.
Yeah, we were our view from calling the game was up a little bit behind the Murray State bench, and to be able to watch that happen, I paid a lot of attention to that. And I tell you, I give a lot of credit to his assistants. They were very in tune with each situation and were in his ear, making recommendations. So you could see the wheels turning with the assistants and that information getting to the head coach, and then him having to make obviously quick decisions. But I think that has come together for him too. That's difficult. So not only do you have a new head coach, you have all new assistant coaches that have never worked together for the most part, and seeing them work together as one unit to support the head coach is very important moving forward. And I thought the Racer staff handled every situation flawlessly.
We talk about the key additions, and I think as the summer has progressed, you got 15 guys you can, and if you talked about, it's like, hey, everybody's had a moment, and you're like, hey, that guy did great, that guy did great. I think the guy, I think pretty obviously right now is Fred King, who played 103 games at Creighton and averaged a whole 3 points a game, playing behind the best center in the country in Ryan Kalkbrenner, but 6'9", 267 pounds. And after 3 years of biding his time, he has busted out through the cage door and says, hello world, here I am. 15 and 11 the other night, but he is a monster.
He is, and for as big and strong as he is, he's got great hands and great feet. And so that allows him to be special. He was very dominant in the low post when he caught the ball, 7 for 11 from the field. I would say Ryan Miller would say he'd like that to be about, 15 shot attempts a game if possible. Played 28 minutes, finished with 4 fouls. Foul trouble is going to be the issue for him. And Ryan Miller's, view on that is that he still needs to get in a little bit better condition. I think, he's made a lot of strides since he's been on campus of them getting him in shape, but not getting those silly fatigue fouls when you're a big guy is what you want to stay away from. And so I know the staff will be watching that and be rotating in backups to see. But one thing for certain, Jeff, this team is not the same when he goes out of the game. Is he has that much impact that he's an all-league type player, maybe even a player of the year type player.
I said we can go down and go through a dozen guys about key additions, but I thought a couple that really stood out on Saturday were the freshmen from France, Roman Doman and Matisse Corbin. And we can start with Doman, who had 10 and 7 the other night, but you just see, he's 20. He's a freshman. He's played professionally in France. You see him on some, second round draft boards for 2026, and you're like, you get it. He's 6'9" without shoes on, and just such a highly skilled guard. There was points where Lane Taylor is allegedly the point guard. He's running to the corner, and here comes number 77 dribbling the ball.
Yeah, he's got a unique skill set on both ends of the floor, but offensively really understands how to play. He had a play early in the game where, with the continuation call now that college basketball has added, he got hit about the free throw line going and then made a Euro step to get away from the defender and kissed it off the glass. And it was one of those plays that you and I looked at each other like, all right, okay, well, that's we hadn't seen that, and he's also very capable on the defensive end. He's so long that and has average foot speed, but he is very active with his hands defensively. Not a great 3-point shooter at this point. I think that'll continue to improve. But what I really like about him is his basketball IQ on the offensive end of the floor. He's very unselfish, is a willing passer, knows to either, when he catches it, either to make a play or get rid of that ball. It doesn't stick with him. And you can see the 4 to 5 years that he has had of being essentially a professional in coming up through, an organization that really teaches how to play with the ball in his hands and without it. He had 3 or 4 backdoor cuts from the wing that I think one resulted in a basket, but he was able to get fouled on one. You could just see from an offensive standpoint, he has a huge basketball.
The other freshman, Matisse Corbin, who was a young man that I don't know that maybe just didn't have the hype around him that Doman did coming in, but and you kind of were trying to figure out who's going to be in the rotation, who can play, and yeah, he can play. And I don't know that there's any argument about it right now. At 11 and 11 the other day at Xavier, and you mentioned more than once, just 6'6", but he can get from the wing to the basket, just kind of one dribble and those long strides. He's quicker than you would think and super athletic, and he is going to be an impact piece, I think, for this Racer team.
He is, and a lot like Doman, both of them had 4 assists each, so they're willing passers. But one thing I like about Matisse is that when he catches it, his first step is really quick and a long stride. And we're looking at this picture of him when he arrived on campus, and he doesn't look anything like that anymore. Physically, he has gotten much stronger. You see his body filling out. And so that's a 6'6" wing, at times, along with a 6'9" wing in Doman, and that's a lot of size defensively. I thought down the stretch it was interesting in the last 5 minutes of the game that Ryan Miller went to both of those players multiple possessions in a row even with Fred King on the block. He had the ball in their hands, being able to initiate offense. And so he has a lot of confidence in them as well.
I know. I'm asking you to pick between your kids at this point. Out of those three, out of the way, who else down the line you just think can be like an immediate impact guy that can kind of when we get going with the season, and maybe one of the most impactful guys was in street clothes the other night in JJ Trainer.
Yeah.
But I don't want to poison the well for you. I'll let you pick who you think.
Well, I really like Braden Shorter. He's the 6'5", 6'6", maybe another wing, and the best shooter out of the wings. And he's got size, he's got experience. He's a third-year junior, and he's very tough. What's that?
No fear.
Oh yeah, no fear at all. And Mike, took 14 threes, probably 2 of those, maybe 3. I think when he'll go back and look at the film, he'll say, yeah, I probably shouldn't have pulled those. But he doesn't have a conscience. He's locked and ready. My favorite thing, we talked about this on the broadcast, I'm in line with him at pregame meal, and he had 3 carrots on his plate, cooked carrots. And, cooked carrots and basketball teams just don't go a lot together. You don't see the cooked carrot bowl getting emptied out too much. But he has them on his plate, and he sees me looking at them. And he looked up and he said, "You know what these are for?" He said, "It's for these laser eyes right here, looking at the basket." And so we laughed, and there was a few shots that, as you said, were no. Oh, great shot! But he's also not selfish. Very willing passer. Will stick his nose in, and rebound as well. Only had 1 rebound in 26 minutes, but he's not scared to compete. And I think the point guard play, with KJ Tenner and Lane Taylor, both of them basically splitting minutes there. It's like a right-hander and a left-hander coming out of the bullpen, because one is cat quick, trying to go from end to end as fast as possible in Tenner, and then Taylor can stroke it. Didn't shoot it much at Xavier, but makes every play with a coach's mindset. Grew up as a coach's son and really understands how to play. And so I loved how both of those 2 played as a unit in the point guard.
Schedule rise, Racers 5 home games, just 1 road game, get 5 neutral site games, and open up with the field of 68 deal in South Dakota with Omaha. And look, only 1 high major, that's SMU on the road, the back end of that home and home from a couple of years ago. But these neutral site games of Omaha, an NCAA tournament team last year, Akron was a tournament team. They're going to be a top 100. McNeese was obviously awesome last year. Middle Tennessee, George Washington's good. These may not be brand names necessarily, but these are some very good challenges for this Racer team this year on neutral.
Yeah, I really think those are 5 games that you could go 5-0 in, or you could lose 4 out of 5. I mean, they're going to be highly competitive games. I think very good games that will simulate what the Missouri Valley is going to be like. And that's just going to be a dogfight, and that you've got to play well and you've got to execute correctly down the stretch in order to get wins in those non-conference games. But then when you get into Valley play, to be able to get some practice at how difficult it's going to be to get wins in the league.
He's Kenny Roth. He is my tag team partner on the Racer Radio Network. Thanks for squeezing us in all that time you're making money today. I appreciate it. And we'll see you Sunday at the bank.
All right. Have a good one. Take care.
All right. There is Kenny Roth, my winter spouse, since I see him more than my wife generally. And Sometimes that's good. Although he got a little ahead of himself with some of his slander on the car ride home. I wasn't really a fan of that, but we'll let him go with that. All right, we had one secret scrimmage over the weekend. Our boy Paul Orn saying it was Valparaiso beating Purdue Fort Wayne 93-84, not 93-94, 93-84 in a secret scrimmage. And he said, hearing a successful run of freshmen is continuing at Valpo. So that was all the details that he had, but Valpo able to get the win. And certainly they've had the last two Missouri Valley Conference Freshmen of the Year with Cooper Schwieger and All Right. We'll see if they can make it a hat trick up there for Roger Powell moving forward. And lastly, for entertainment purposes only, the folks at Caesars Sportsbook have released the betting favorites to win the Missouri Valley, and apparently they are not interested in taking a stand. They're just going to say, hey, we've got 5 teams all picked as the favorites, and they're the 5 you would expect: Bradley, Murray State, Northern Iowa, Illinois State, and Belmont, all at plus 400 to win the Valley. And then there's a drop-off: Drake at plus 1,500, SIU at plus 1,600. Those may be your value plays for those of you interested in that. And then it's UIC, and then the big at 25-1, and then after that, Indiana State 55-1, Evansville 70-1, Valpo 100-1. So not many surprises there, at least again at the top. Those are your top 5. Those were the top 5 in the preseason poll as ranked by the Missouri Valley Conference. And those are the ones we'll be keeping an eye on, certainly as we roll into the season, which starts 14 days from today. Thanks to everybody for being with us today. Thanks to Kenny Roth for hopping on, talking some Murray State men's basketball. Thanks to Dr. Rich Tyner, the radio voice for the Belmont women. And thanks to you for being with us. We'll continue our previews on Wednesday, Media Day. It's half the men's coaches today, half tomorrow. We'll have any fallout from that coming up Wednesday morning right here. If you haven't done so already, please head to YouTube, subscribe for free to Morning in the Valley. Share with your friends, even people you don't like. Let them know about us. We appreciate that very much. We'll be back on Wednesday morning, 9:30. We'll see you then right here on Morning in the Valley.